In 1989, NBC and creator Donald Bellisario sent Sam Beckett back in time to make what once went wrong. In the science fiction hit Quantum Leap. During the show's 5 seasons, Sam Beckett, played by Scott Bakula, saw Sam leaping from life to life, from everyday common folks to a space chimp to even Lee Harvey Oswald. But it seems Sam never got his greatest leap of all, leaping into Hawaii private detective Thomas Magnum. In 1980, CBS and television creator Donald Bellisario teamed up to bring Thomas Magnum to Hawaii so he can be the ground security guard for Robin Masters' estate, ran by Jonathan Quayle Higgins, and in the part-time, be a private detective. The show was Magnum PI, and it quickly became one of the most successful television dramas of the 80s. Sometimes the show wouldn't take itself too seriously, and other times, very seriously.
Did you see the sunrise this morning?
Yes. Why?
So the show was able to ride that rail between having fun and being serious. And it's one of the few shows from the 80s that still holds up very well today. So what does Magnum PI and Quantum Leap have in common, other than having the same creator? Now that show's creator, I'll just refer to him now as Donald, because I'm sure I'll pronounce his last name wrong, has always been a fan of television crossovers. In fact, when CBS wanted to reuse some of the sets from Hawaii Five-0 for Magnum, Donald used this as a great opportunity to put Thomas Magnum in the world of Hawaii Five-0. In season 1, Magnum gets on a police radio and pretends he's with the police, and he says, "Bill, this is Matt Garrett of 5-0. Is David Norman armed?" This, of course, is referencing characters from Hawaii Five-0. In fact, one of the stars from Hawaii Five-0, Jack Lord, was even in talks to appear on Magnum PI as the character from Hawaii Five-0, but it never did happen. However, Magnum did do some crossing over. He did a 2-parter episode with Jessica Fletcher, who we all know from Murder, She Wrote. Magnum also did a 2-parter episode with California private detectives Rick and AJ from Simon and Simon.
Oh, yeah, well, that's a red board, too. You know what I mean? Hold it right there.
Thomas.
For the season 4th ending to Quantum Leap, Sam was to leap into Magnum PI. In fact, if you believe some eyewitness reports, this season ender was even filmed. If you're not familiar with Quantum Leap, at the end of each episode, after Sam Beckett has made right what once went wrong, he leaps into someone else, setting up the next episode. It would often end with him looking in the mirror, revealing to the audience and Sam himself who he leaped into. Then he would say his famous catchphrase, "Oh boy." If you were at LeapCon in the 90s, a convention for Quantum Leap fans, you may have saw this ending with Scott Bakula as Sam, dressed up like Magnum. According to people at the convention, say that it shows Sam Beckett with his back to the audience, standing in front of a blue screen, wearing the famous Magnum PI Hawaiian shirt. And then Sam looks over his shoulder, giving everyone a look at actor Scott Bakula with the famous Thomas Magnum mustache. Looking at the camera, instead of saying, "Oh boy," he makes the famous eyebrow jump seen in the opening intro to Magnum PI. So was Sam going to leap into Magnum? Or was he actually going to leap into Tom Selleck playing Magnum? There's really no clear answer to that, but as we know, Donald loved to do crossovers, and it's most likely he was going to play Magnum. So what happened? Why didn't we get this crossover? Or is it just an urban myth? Is there any truth to this at all? For that answer, we look at the May 1992 TV Guide issue, where they did a very small article entitled Jumping to Conclusions, where they said NBC was working on this episode before they even got the permission of Tom Selleck. TV Guide even has a quote from Tom Selleck saying, "I'm not going to be a part of it." But would Tom Selleck really have been needed? If Sam Beckett was to leap into Magnum, all we really would need was Tom Selleck in the mirror scenes. You could easily just do it without a mirror scene, although that would kind of go against the feeling of Quantum Leap itself, but you probably could use footage from the television show and work it into the show without using Tom Selleck. It seems from the quote in TV Guide that Tom Selleck turned this down. However, in a 1992 USA Today article, they talked to Tom Selleck's agent, who seemed to not know anything about this, saying that Tom Selleck was never reached out from anyone at ABC or Quantum Leap. There's also a problem if they were to do this, as Quantum Leap aired on NBC and was owned by Universal, and Magnum was a CBS show. So I'm sure if they went ahead with this show, there would have been some legal nightmare to work out. And why even do a crossover? Or why not do one? One thought of bringing Magnum back in this way would make Magnum fans excited for a feature Magnum PI movie starring Tom Selleck, something that Donald has been pushing for years. In an interview with a Quantum Leap podcast, Donald Belisario said that the plan was nothing more than something in his head and didn't get much beyond that. And his plan was to have him leap into Magnum, not Tom Selleck.
I wanted to leap him into Magnum. I thought that would have been a terrific episode.
I heard rumors that that was actually shot, a teaser that was actually shot. Was that true?
No, it's not true.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Never. I wanted to make that, and the executive said to me, "You can't do that because Magnum's not a real person." I said, "I think Sam's a real person." And he couldn't get past that you're leaping into a TV show. People will not believe it. So I never got around to making it. Probably would have been difficult because I'd have had to gotten Tom's permission to use him, and I don't know if he'd have gone along with that or not.
As you heard there, Donald says nothing was ever filmed. But I must point out that Donald has also in the past said there was no original different ending for Quantum Leap. And since then, images from the original ending from Quantum Leap has leaked out online. So what was the plan? The plan was for season 4 to end with Sam leaping into Magnum right at the end. And then the first episode of season 5 will be the Magnum crossover episode. It seems most likely that this ending was filmed, at least just filmed with a blue screen, that it was more than just plans in the creator's head. My guess is that this is something they planned, and then it was just too much of a headache working everything out. So they skipped it. It seems most likely Sam was going to leap into Thomas Magnum, not Tom Selleck, and work with the co-stars for Magnum PI to help solve a mystery, to put right what once went wrong for Magnum. Then he would leap on to the next episode. It would be interesting to me if he actually leaped back to one of the episodes in Magnum, but I really doubt they would have done that. So how did season 4 end? Well, instead of leaping into Magnum, Sam leaked into someone else we all know, Lee Harvey Oswald, who Donald actually knew.
I was in the Marine Corps with Lee Harvey Oswald and had met him and had some words with him.
In the first episode of season 5, we see Sam leaping around the many years of Lee Harvey Oswald trying to stop the assassination of John F. Kennedy. At the end of season 5, the show was canceled. So any plans ever to cross over the two shows died with the end of season 5.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.